You ever have one of those perfect Friday nights? You know the kind. Cozy blanket, fresh popcorn, your favorite person next to you, and a movie lined up after a long week. That was me, just last week. My name's Rachel, I'm 31, and I thought I was in a stable, loving relationship. Keyword, thought. My boyfriend Tyler and I had been together for over 3 years. We'd just put a down payment on a sweet little bungalow in a quiet neighborhood outside Austin. It had a picket fence and a backyard big enough for the golden retriever we swore we'd adopt one day. We even joked about naming our future kids after famous rock stars. That's how deep we were in. Friday nights were sacred to us. Our tradition since month 2 of dating. We took turns picking movies, anything from nostalgic comedies to bizarre documentaries. We made gourmet popcorn with smoked paprika and truffle salt. Yes, we were those people. And then we'd just zone out together, decompressing from the chaos of the week. That Friday, it was Tyler's turn to pick. He chose a documentary on digital currency and financial systems. Riveting, I know. About 40 minutes in, he dozed off, slumped against the armrest, snoring lightly. I chuckled, not surprised. He'd been working late all week on a supposed launch campaign for his ad agency. He looked peaceful, phone still in hand. Then his phone lit up. At first, I didn't think much of it. We both respected each other's privacy. No peeking, no snooping. But then it lit up again. And again. And again. The sender was saved as Client Project Glow. Huh. That's the name of the campaign he'd mentioned. I squinted at the screen. I swear I wasn't trying to read the text, but they were. Right there. The first one said, "Miss your touch already." My stomach flipped. Maybe it was some weird inside joke with the client. Then the next one came in. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to do it again tomorrow." That's when the world stopped. I felt like I'd been slapped. The blood drained from my face, and all I could hear was the rush of my own heartbeat in my ears. Tyler's phone slipped from his limp hand onto the cushion, still unlocked, still buzzing. I froze, literally. For a solid minute I couldn't move, just sat there, staring at him. The man I thought I was going to marry. The man who had kissed me on the forehead that morning and called me his forever. He looked so serene, so ordinary, like he hadn't just detonated my entire life. I picked up the phone. My hands were shaking and my brain was screaming, "Don't do this, Rachel." But I had to know. I scrolled, and what I found broke me. It wasn't just a couple of flirty messages. This was a full-blown affair. Hotel bookings, voice notes, explicit photos, plans for future weekends together, all while we were choosing tile samples for our new bathroom. There were even texts about me. She's sweet, but I'm figuring it out. I'll tell her soon. I just don't want to hurt her, like, he wasn't already stabbing me in the back every night. I don't even remember how I managed to stay quiet. Something in me, some cold, hard survival instinct, kicked in. I placed the phone back gently on the couch like nothing happened, pulled a blanket over him, smoothed his hair. Then I walked into the bathroom and had the quietest, most devastating panic attack of my life. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't confront him. I needed to think. At 2 a.m., while Tyler snored peacefully, I lay awake, next to him, staring at the ceiling, replaying every little lie, every excuse, every late night at the office, every weekend team brainstorm. It all made sense now. My life, the one I thought I was building, was nothing but a lie. And that's when something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to cry and beg and let him explain his way out of this. I was going to get smart. I was going to get organized. And I was going to make damn sure he regretted ever underestimating me. Let the games begin. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the window like nothing had changed. Tyler stretched, gave me a sleepy smile, kissed me softly and whispered, "Good morning, beautiful." It felt like ice water rushing through my veins. I smiled, back, forcing every ounce of acting ability I never knew I possessed. "Morning, sleepyhead." As Tyler showered, I sat frozen on our bed, feeling hollow. My head spun with thoughts of him messaging this Project Glow, plotting hotel rendezvous and cozy dinners behind my back. But I knew I couldn't confront him. Not yet. I needed solid proof, undeniable evidence. I wasn't going to let him twist this around on me or gaslight me. Instead, I started planning, while Tyler went to his usual Saturday morning CrossFit session, now clearly code for something else. I called my best friend, Mia. Within 20 minutes, she was knocking at my door, latte in hand, expression serious. We sat on the couch, Mia scrolling through screenshots of the messages I'd secretly taken last night. Her eyes widened with each swipe. "Rachel, this isn't just shady. It's next-level betrayal, she murmured. Her face darkened as she paused on an explicit picture. He's literally living a double life. My stomach twisted again. I trusted him, Mia. 3 years, a house, our whole future. How could I have missed this? Mia squeezed my hand. Don't blame yourself. He's the one who chose to lie. Her voice lowered conspiratorially. But now let's use his stupidity against him. We spent the next 2 hours mapping Tyler's movements. Luckily, Tyler and I shared a joint credit card for household expenses, so we logged in online to see recent transactions. My heart sank further with each suspicious entry. A dinner at an upscale seafood restaurant I'd never been to. Uber charges. At odd hours of the night. A luxury hotel room booked when Tyler claimed he was attending a client seminar. Every charge painted a clearer picture of betrayal. Tyler had been careless, confident I wouldn't suspect anything. Well, his arrogance was now my greatest weapon. Mia suggested digging deeper. Rachel, if he's lying this blatantly, there must be more. So I downloaded our phone carrier's app, which displayed location history for phones on our plan. Jackpot. Every Tuesday and Thursday when Tyler worked late, his phone showed up consistently at an apartment complex downtown. A quick Instagram cross-check revealed who lived there. Melanie Reed, a marketing executive Tyler mentioned briefly months ago as a new hire. My stomach knotted again, realizing this had probably been happening since Melanie started at his agency 3 months ago. I was furious but focused. Anger was now my fuel. The rest of the weekend was surreal. I smiled through brunches, discussed interior paint colors, and pretended to laugh at Tyler's awful jokes. He casually suggested adopting a puppy for our new home, oblivious that I knew the truth. Inside, I wanted to scream, but I held back. The more normal I acted, the more Tyler relaxed, giving me space to gather evidence. On Sunday night, I casually mentioned an upcoming business trip. Hey, I might have to go to a marketing conference in Dallas next weekend. Sorry for short notice. Tyler's face brightened just a little too quickly before he masked it with fake disappointment. Aw, babe, that sucks. How long? Just Friday through Sunday. I smiled sweetly. Think you'll survive without me? I'll manage somehow, he chuckled, clearly already planning his weekend with Melanie. I spent the next days carefully documenting everything. I quietly transferred small amounts from our joint savings, just enough to secure myself financially. I even secretly installed a discreet doorbell camera to monitor our apartment while I'd be away. If Melanie stepped foot into my home, I'd capture it all. But nothing prepared me for the twist on Wednesday evening. Tyler had invited me to his agency's monthly happy hour, partners welcome. Usually I'd skip, but this time I agreed, curious to observe Tyler and Melanie interact. Walking into that crowded bar, my heart hammered. Tyler introduced me casually to Melanie, and the two exchanged an awkward glance. Then Melanie leaned close, whispering something unexpected into my ear, her voice trembling. I know you know. But there's something bigger happening here. Tyler isn't who you think. You and I need to talk. Alone. My heart practically stopped as Melanie pulled back, eyes filled with anxiety. Tyler had drifted away toward colleagues, unaware of our whispered exchange. Suddenly, the bar's cheerful buzz became a distant blur as Melanie motioned discreetly. Toward the patio doors, please, she urged softly. 5 minutes, it's important. Numbly, I followed her outside. The cool evening air hit me sharply, pulling me back to reality. We stood quietly near a secluded table, my arms folded defensively. Look, Melanie, I began, barely concealing my anger. I know everything. No, Rachel, she interrupted quickly, her voice breaking slightly. You don't. You know about the affair, yes, and I'm genuinely sorry. Tyler told me you were basically done, that you were staying together until you settled finances. I swear he made it seem like you were both ready to move on. Her sincerity stunned me briefly, but I recovered fast. Why should I believe anything you say? You've both been lying to me for months. Melanie winced, shaking her head rapidly. Listen, I don't expect your forgiveness, but there's something else you deserve to know. She glanced nervously back at the glass doors, checking for Tyler. I've seen things. Strange things at his apartment. Stuff that doesn't add up. My stomach twisted with dread. What are you talking about? Melanie took a shaky breath. A few weeks ago, Tyler left early for a client meeting. I was waiting to lock up and saw some papers on his desk. Contracts, loan statements, documents with your name on them. At first, I thought nothing of it. But then I noticed signatures. Yours, but they didn't match. Rachel, they looked forged. My entire body went cold. Forged? Contracts for what? Loans, lines of credit, refinancing documents, she whispered urgently. I snapped quick photos before leaving. I don't even know why. I guess something felt off and I didn't trust him anymore. Look, Melanie quickly swiped through her phone, hands trembling slightly as she showed me blurry snapshots. I instantly recognized my name next to financial institutions. I'd never even heard of signatures close, but not quite like mine. My pulse roared in my ears. Tyler wasn't just cheating. He was committing identity theft. Against me. I felt dizzy. How long had this been happening? Was the house we were buying another financial trap he'd manipulated me into? Melanie saw the horror in my eyes. I wanted to confront him, she admitted quietly. But I was terrified. I started pulling away, and I think he's suspicious. He's been different, colder, more controlling. I shook my head, overwhelmed. Why tell me this now? She looked down, ashamed. Because I realized something. I'm not the only one being used here. Tyler isn't just some guy cheating on his girlfriend. I think he's dangerous. I leaned against the wall, my breath coming in short, panicked gasps. Melanie stepped closer, her voice urgent yet gentle. Rachel, whatever you're planning, be careful. Tyler's charming, convincing, and calculated. If you confront him without solid evidence, he'll manipulate everything. Trust me. Inside, someone laughed loudly, jolting us both. Tyler was approaching the glass door, scanning the patio. Melanie quickly turned away, pretending we'd just been chatting. There you two are, Tyler called out cheerfully, his expression unreadable as he glanced between us. What are you up to? Melanie faked a smile. Girl talk, Rachel was just telling me about the house. Exciting stuff. Tyler draped an arm around my shoulder possessively, eyes cold as he looked at Melanie. Yeah, very exciting. His grip tightened slightly, sending chills down my spine. The rest of the night blurred together. Every smile, every joke, every whispered conversation between Tyler and his co-workers now seemed sinister. I clung to Tyler's arm, playing the loving girlfriend, silently piecing together the devastating puzzle Melanie had handed me. Later that night, alone in our bedroom, I lay awake beside Tyler's sleeping form, staring at the ceiling in sickening disbelief. I thought he had betrayed my heart. Now I knew he'd betrayed my entire life. But a grim determination settled over me. If Tyler thought he could ruin me this easily, he'd badly underestimated how far I'd go to take my life back. From that moment, I wasn't just heartbroken. I was ready for war. After Melanie's warning, I realized I had to be extremely cautious. Tyler wasn't just a cheater. He was committing financial fraud, using my identity to fund some secret lifestyle or cover hidden debts. It felt unreal, like I'd woken up inside someone else's nightmare. Over the next days, I played along flawlessly, smiling, laughing, pretending everything was fine, while quietly assembling my arsenal. I discreetly visited a financial advisor, handing over the photos Melanie had shown. He stared at them, shaking his head gravely. This isn't just identity theft, Rachel, he told me softly. This is serious fraud. He could ruin your credit and saddle you with debt for years. Panic surged, but I fought it back, forcing clarity. What can I do? He gave me precise instructions. Freeze my credit immediately, report everything to the police, and document every interaction. But confronting Tyler without solid proof was too risky. I needed to catch him red-handed. My conference trip to Dallas was coming up, the perfect opportunity to expose Tyler's lies. He eagerly mentioned his plans for a quiet weekend, barely masking excitement. Clearly, Melanie was part of the plan. I played dumb, packing my bags while setting my own stage. The night before my trip, while Tyler showered, I discreetly set up tiny hidden cameras around our apartment, carefully concealing them in houseplants and decorative items. My hands trembled, slightly, but my resolve remained strong. On Thursday evening, Tyler kissed me goodbye, acting like the loving partner he wasn't. Gonna miss you, he murmured, eyes gleaming with deceit. I smiled back, feeling like an actress in a twisted drama. Miss you too. I drove to Mia's place instead of the airport, anxiety and adrenaline surging through my veins. We turned her apartment into a makeshift surveillance headquarters, connecting my laptop to the hidden camera's live feed. Friday night came swiftly, the video streams eerily clear. Mia and I watched anxiously. My stomach clenched painfully as Tyler opened our front door, greeting Melanie with a passionate kiss. I felt sick, betrayed, but I kept watching, capturing every second as evidence. They laughed, shared wine, and talked casually about their weekend, completely unaware I was recording their every word. Then things took another strange turn. Tyler suddenly stood up, glancing toward the bedroom nervously. Melanie seemed confused, watching as he went and retrieved a folder from his desk. He handed it to her with a smug smile. What's this? Melanie asked cautiously. Proof, Tyler replied calmly, a cruel edge to his voice. Just in case. Melanie opened it, eyes widening in shock. Are you kidding me? This implicates Rachel. You've set her up for everything. He laughed coldly, shrugging. Someone has to take the fall. She's perfect, trusting, naive. Once she realizes, she'll already be drowning in debt. By the time investigators figure it out, I'll be gone. Mia gripped my hand tightly. Rachel, he's framing you, she whispered, horrified. My blood turned to ice. Tyler was deliberately orchestrating everything to blame me for his crimes. My name, my credit, my entire future was his scapegoat. Melanie paced anxiously, voice rising in anger. Tyler, this isn't right. You said it was minor, this is criminal. He stepped closer, intimidatingly calm. It's already done. You're either with me or against me. She stared back defiantly. I won't let you ruin her life. His smile vanished. Instantly, eyes cold and calculating. Careful, Mel. You don't want to end up collateral damage. Melanie backed away, fear in her expression as she grabbed her belongings, leaving abruptly. Tyler stood silently, contemplating his next move, oblivious that I'd captured everything. Mia turned to me urgently. Rachel, you have him. He just confessed everything. My heart raced, emotions overwhelming. Tyler wasn't just a liar. He was ruthless, willing to destroy anyone to protect himself. I had to act fast, but just as I reached for my phone to call, the authorities, my screen lit up. It was a message from Tyler. Hope you're enjoying your conference, Rachel. But if you're watching, consider this. If you say a word, everyone will believe you're guilty. I've made sure of it. My pulse pounded violently. He knew. Somehow he knew. This wasn't a betrayal anymore. It was war, and Tyler had just raised the stakes higher than I ever imagined. Tyler's text stared back at me, mocking and terrifying in equal measure. Somehow he knew exactly what I was doing. He'd anticipated my every move. Mia saw my stunned expression and gently took the phone, reading his message silently. This isn't good, she muttered, face pale. What now? My mind raced. Tyler wasn't just dangerous, he was smart. He'd orchestrated a financial trap so elaborate that anyone investigating would find my fingerprints everywhere. If I went to the police prematurely, I'd walk straight into his setup. My heart sank, but then anger surged, hot and sharp. Tyler underestimated me. He believed I'd panic, crumble under pressure. But he'd forgotten one thing. I wasn't alone. Melanie suddenly messaged me. Rachel, I'm so sorry. Can we meet? I hesitated, but Mia insisted. She risked confronting Tyler for you. Hear her out. She might be your best ally right now. Half an hour later, Melanie arrived at Mia's place, visibly shaken but determined. Her voice trembled, slightly as she explained. He knows you set cameras. I spotted one earlier. He saw me react and figured it out. That's why he threatened me tonight. He's terrified. But Rachel, he missed something crucial. What? I asked desperately. Melanie took out her phone, voice lowering conspiratorially. The office documents. He forgot I took pictures. I also managed to screenshot messages he sent, instructing me how to cover for him. It's proof he's been manipulating us both. He got cocky, careless. My pulse quickened. Can you share these with me? She nodded immediately. Absolutely. He ruined our lives. I want him stopped. Over the next few hours, we carefully built a timeline using every scrap of evidence. Melanie's screenshots, the hidden camera recordings, Tyler's threatening messages. Finally, everything lined up. But this time, I wouldn't rush to authorities. Instead, I planned carefully. Tyler believed he controlled the narrative, but he forgot I knew his weaknesses, arrogance and impatience. The following morning, Tyler messaged again, confident yet condescending. Come home, Rachel. We should talk face to face. Let's resolve this quietly before things get messy for you. I replied simply. Fine, 7 p.m. He quickly responded, good girl. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. My blood boiled, but I stayed calm. At 6:45 p.m., I parked outside our apartment, breathing deeply to steady my nerves. A small recorder was hidden in my pocket, another one in my purse. Mia and Melanie waited nearby, monitoring from the parking lot. If anything went wrong, they'd call for help. Tyler greeted me casually, feigning surprise at my icy glare. Rachel, come on. We can still fix this. Fix what? I asked quietly, refusing to enter further. The lies? The fraud? Framing me for your crimes. He laughed dismissively. You're being dramatic. You have zero proof. If you accuse me, your life implodes. I took a calculated step forward, challenging him. You really think you thought of everything, Tyler? He smirked arrogantly. Yes, actually. Except Melanie. I whispered, pulling out my phone. You never considered she'd turn against you. His confidence faltered momentarily. She's bluffing. No one will believe her. Really? I pressed play on my phone. Melanie's voice, loud and clear, confirming everything Tyler had done, followed by his own explicit threats against her. Tyler's eyes widened in shock, panic flashing briefly before he regained composure, stepping toward me menacingly. You're making a big mistake, Rachel, he growled. You have no idea how far I'll go. Suddenly, flashing lights lit up the window. A police cruiser pulled into the complex parking lot, swiftly followed by another. Tyler's face drained completely. Actually, Tyler, I smiled coldly. You have no idea how far I'll go. The door burst open. Officers entered swiftly, positioning themselves between us. Tyler Bennett, you're under arrest, one officer announced firmly. Multiple counts of financial fraud and identity theft. Tyler stood motionless, shock rendering him speechless. As they cuffed him, he finally looked up, eyes pleading desperately. Rachel, please. You should have thought of that before, I said firmly, stepping back as they escorted him out. For the first time in weeks, I felt powerfully alive. Outside, Mia and Melanie embraced me fiercely, relief and triumph blending together. It's over, Mia whispered. But the satisfaction lasted barely a moment. My phone buzzed urgently. It was Tyler's mother, her voice frantic in a voicemail. Rachel, I'm so sorry about everything, but there's something else. Something worse. Tyler didn't do this alone. Someone else is involved. Someone close to you. Call me quickly. Stomach dropped. The nightmare wasn't over. It had only just begun. My hands shook as I called Tyler's mother back, the adrenaline rush fading into fresh dread. Her voice trembled through the phone. Rachel, I never imagined Tyler capable of this, but I found something disturbing, she confessed. After the police took him, I searched his old room at our house. There's a hidden laptop he forgot about, and I discovered messages. Tyler wasn't acting alone. He had help from someone you trust completely. My pulse raced painfully. Who? Who helped him? She hesitated, clearly struggling. Mia. Your friend, Mia. I laughed bitterly, disbelieving. No, Mia's been my rock through this nightmare. Rachel, listen to me, she interrupted, firmly. There are countless messages between Tyler and Mia. They planned this entire thing together from the start. She's the one who tipped Tyler off about the cameras. She knew you'd trust her implicitly. It was always about the money. They planned to split everything once you took the fall. The room spun as betrayal crushed down on me again, more devastating than before. Mia had sat beside me, comforted me, reassured me, all while stabbing me in the back. Why are you telling me this? I finally choked out. Tyler's mother's voice softened sadly. Because it's wrong. Tyler hurt you terribly, and I won't let him, or Mia, ruin your life further. I've already forwarded everything to the detective handling Tyler's case. You deserve justice. Hanging up numbly, my mind frantically replayed the past weeks, Mia suggesting subtle actions, encouraging me to wait before confronting Tyler. Now her strange calmness during the worst moments seemed painfully obvious. I'd blindly trusted, the very person orchestrating my downfall. But now it was my turn to act. Quickly, I sent Mia a casual text. Can we meet at your place? Something new came up. She replied immediately, completely unaware. Sure thing, see you soon. My stomach clenched, but this time I was ready. As I parked near Mia's apartment complex, my phone buzzed. The detective. We've verified everything Tyler's mother sent us, he confirmed seriously. If Mia admits to it on record, we'll have everything we need. Taking a deep breath, I nodded, stepping forward into my final confrontation. Mia greeted me warmly, smiling as if nothing had changed. What's, up? You sounded serious. I forced calm, holding her gaze. I heard from Tyler's mother. She told me something interesting. Instantly, Mia's smile faltered slightly before she recovered smoothly. What now? She found Tyler's old laptop. Apparently there are messages between you and Tyler. Her eyes flashed panic for a split second before she laughed, nervously. Rachel, come on, you can't seriously think. Think what? I challenged quietly, stepping closer. That you'd betray me for money? After everything? Mia hesitated, eyes shifting as her expression darkened. Tyler's mother needs to stay out of this. Out of what exactly? I pressed, secretly activating the recorder in my pocket. The plan you both created to ruin me? She met my gaze defiantly. Rachel, you had everything. The perfect guy, the house, the future. You always had to have more. Tyler approached me first, said you'd never even miss the money. It wasn't personal at first, but watching you squirm, I'll admit I enjoyed it. Her words cut deep, but I maintained my composure. Enjoyed setting up your best friend? She shrugged coldly. You always underestimated me, thought I was content living in your shadow. Tyler offered a way out, a fresh start, money. Except Tyler's in jail now, I interrupted, calmly. And you've just confessed everything on record. Confusion clouded Mia's face as the door burst open behind me, detectives swiftly entering the room. Mia Jensen, you're under arrest for conspiracy and identity theft. Detective stated firmly, cuffing her quickly. Her bravado shattered instantly, replaced by pure panic. Rachel, please, I didn't mean, but I turned away, feeling nothing but emptiness. Betrayed by love, betrayed by friendship, yet finally, free from lies. Over the following weeks, the investigation unfolded swiftly. Tyler and Mia faced severe legal consequences, their meticulously planned betrayal publicly exposed. My financial records were cleared, credit restored. I found peace in a new, quiet apartment, slowly rebuilding my life piece by piece. Months later, sipping coffee at a local cafe, I received an unexpected text from Tyler's mother. Rachel, you were always too good for him. I hope someday you find real happiness. You deserve it. I smiled softly, deleting the message. She was right. After everything, I deserved peace. And for the first time since that dreadful Friday night, I finally felt like I had my life back. That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought, or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.